Hey everybody, and welcome back to Storytime with JRP. We're continuing our book, Laurence Grey, Secret to the Lost Roanoke Colony, and we're currently in chapter 53. So if you're just joining us, head back to chapter 1 so you don't miss any crucial details. We are now only 5 chapters away from the end of the book, guys, and I'm so excited that we've done this journey for so long, and now we're finally getting towards the end, so I can't wait to see how it wraps up. So we'll continue that now. But first, a brief recap of the previous chapter. Laurence Grey attempted to fight against the invading Roanoke colonists, but they blew up all his tanks and his army with him, and he raced back in to try to stop the Roanoke army from shooting everyone, only to find out that the vice president and General Farragut were dead, and later his own wife and son. Then the evil General Sheldon took a time machine to take over the world. Is there any way Grey can stop this? We'll find out now in chapter 53 titled Exile. Laurence Grey was just beginning a new round of sorrow when looking at his dead son, when all of a sudden Jason's body disappeared. Grey was frantic and began shoving experiments away in a panicked search for the late Jason. A noise from the back of the room alerted Grey. It was the time machine. As it became visible again, Grey could tell that inside it held General Sheldon and Jason. Grey, tears welling up again in joy, ran to Jason, but stopped when Grey found himself staring down the barrel of a ray gun. "Not so fast, Grey. I found out your rather clever plan." Grey was puzzled. "Plan?" Sheldon sneered. "You know what I mean. You let me kill Jason, but we all know how I got here. I came forward in time when I stole Jason's time machine, the Jason from the other reality. So if Jason is killed when he's 14 years old, he won't be alive to go back in time when he's much older, leading to me disappearing." Grey was surprised. He had not worked out that angle. Sheldon must have went back in time a few minutes, nabbed Jason, and brought him to the time frame Grey is in. Sheldon, apparently, was still talking during Grey's reverie. "And I won't fall for that again. So, Grey, it's time for you to come to your ultimate decision. Kill your own son, and for that one loss, you'll be rid of me and my entire army, erased from your timeline. Or you can have your son back right now with no harm done. But I promise you, with the time machine in our control, it's only a matter of time before I can become world emperor. The world, or your son. You have 10 seconds to decide." Grey looked and nodded into Jason's eyes. Grey looked and looked into Jason's eyes. He saw a look of determination. "Do it, Dad," Jason said grimly. "The world needs me way less than it needs its freedom." Grey vigorously shook his head. I won't do it. I can't do it. You're my son. There has to be another way." "There is," interrupted Sheldon. "You die. That's about it. Other than that, I can't get this right. Other than that, I'd stick with letting me dominate the world if I were you." Grey rattled off a few unmentionable words and said, "I'll never bow to scum like you, Sheldon." General Sheldon smiled. "You will, Grey. You will." Sheldon pressed a button, and the time machine started to shimmer away. Grey whipped out a gun and fired at Sheldon, but the alien ray beam slowed down when it made contact because of the time disturbance. Sheldon just laughed and easily dodged the beam. After a few moments, the time machine completely disappeared. Grey was distraught. What could he do? It seemed to be a no-win situation. Grey wandered over to a nearby TV screen and turned it on. A news lady was standing over in front of the White House, looking very upset. "This reporter is very sad to announce the beginning of a new leadership in the United States. With President Terry presumed dead, the new president is Roanoke Army General Sheldon. A new set of laws will be released tomorrow. Be advised to stay in your homes until everything settles down. Apparently, somehow everything the general is doing is legal. We will update you as the situation develops." Grey shut off the TV. With the Roanoke Army instantly in power because of the time machine, that only made Grey's vulnerability even worse. For the time being, there was only one thing left to do: go into exile. Grey slowly exited Area 51, wondering where to go. He assumed that all law enforcement would be on the lookout for him, per Sheldon's orders. Wait, what? per Sheldon's orders. What, did I miss something? Oh, okay, never mind. Gray slowly exited Area 51, wondering where to go. He assumed that all law enforcement would be on the lookout for him, per Sheldon's orders. As he passed another TV, his suspicions were proven correct. The news lady was in the middle of saying, "Is wanted. Repeat, President Sheldon asks all of us to find and capture a 35-year-old Caucasian man named Laurence Grey. President Sheldon will pay $10 million to anyone who can retain Grey. Ideally, the state of alive is wanted." Blood drained from Gray's face. He was already out of time. How the heck was he going to find a place to hide in when the entire country was out to get him? But Gray was disrupted from his thoughts when he heard noise from the far end of the room. Gray stepped over a few bodies and made his way to the bodies that seemed to be moving. That's when he realized something was under that. Gray cautiously approached the thing, gun raised. Gray pushed the bodies out of the way to find something he did not ever expect to see again. President Terry. Admittedly, Terry was not in good shape. He had cuts and bruises all over him, and what was most alarming was the missing left arm. "President Terry, what happened?" Terry struggled to stand. "Gray, you're alive. My arm was shot off by a ray gun. What happened to General Farragut and the others?" Gray bowed his head. "They're dead, sir." Terry was silent for a moment. "I see. Well, I guess that makes you the vice president, then." Gray started to protest, but President Terry cut him off. "No buts, Gray. We're at war. We don't have time for an election. Since the Roanoke Army basically wiped out the base, they could be anywhere by now." Gray sighed. "There's more, sir," and showed Terry Sheldon's self-proclaimed presidency and his warrants on Gray. "Apparently, he used the time machine to change the law so that is now totally legal for him to become president," said Gray. Terry grimaced. "There's law, Gray, and then there's right and wrong, and this is wrong." Gray stood up. "So what are you going to do about it?" Terry shrugged. "I'm technically not president anymore, so I can't do anything. For now, we'll need to stick to your plan of going into exile. We'll lock up this base and wait it out and see what happens. It's our only option with that warrant out on you. I'm sure mine is not far behind." As Gray told Terry about what happened to Jason, he said, "What about my son?" Terry replied, "What about him? Sheldon was right. It's his freedom or the world's." And that is it for chapter 53, guys. Things look grim for Gray and Terry, with Sheldon successfully having taken over the country and perhaps soon the world. What will happen next? Well, I was going to say you can find out tomorrow, but I'm taking off 3 days for Good Friday and Easter. So we're going to go 3 days without a chapter, and you can get the next chapter on Monday, guys, as we almost wrap up this book. So I'll see you Monday, guys, all right? And have a good day.